Hello everyone, my name is Yanko and welcome to another video. So guys, we're back with the new season. We are doing the pre-season tour over in Japan at the moment. We have played one game and we've still got one to play. So today's game, we're going to be talking over, of course, what we have been doing over the last two. Today's review, which is the game against Yokohama. I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed from that game, of course, the heavy feat against Yokohama, of course. There were a lot of key points. Of course, you know, with us, I've watched over all the goals and you can see we really didn't do well. We really didn't defend well. There's key points when we did look good and key points when we just didn't look good at all. My points on these is the fact of, you know, putting into, in my opinion, and also into a neutral perspective of how the game went. To be honest, I didn't get to fully see the game because I was at work, but I have sat and watched over every bit of clip I could see, and you know, there were, you know, a lot of the signs were like last season towards the end when we were creating all these chances and, you know, nothing was coming of it. That was getting noticed quite a bit, and some of them, the goals, pretty standard. The first goal from Yokohama, I have no idea what Joe Hart was doing. Absolutely speechless at the goal, to say the least. It was very, very disappointing. You guys will able to see it now. Well, it's just I've got it playing again so I can do a more analysis as such on it. But the ball gets picked up, and you know, Joe Hart just instantly goes to ground. He tries to get a grip of it, doesn't get a grip at all, completely loses the ball and tries just to throw his arms and his leg at the attacker. It just doesn't work at all, and we can see that it's a very, very stupid goal. You know, looking at the defensive shape, you know, as well, I do have a lot of questions about this. I'm glad that Starfelt and Vickers will be at the back and to start off the season, because that defence that we've seen, is absolutely shocking. I really hope that that's not going to be our defence for this season. Taylor, I think, did okay, but the build up, just looking at this goal alone, Kobayashi's a bit further forward. It's in behind Yokohama. It's just didn't look good. And we then move on to the equaliser. Abada cuts in, Maeda. You know, it's here. It was a decent finish. It was a natural striker's finish. Nothing massive on it. A nice wee goal. It's those sort of goals that can go a long way. Of course, not all goals have to be sensational strikes. A lot of them can be, you know, just plain simple pass, simple shot. Those can be very, very important. We then do eventually take the lead, and you know, at this point, I was pretty happy, you know, and I'm a bit disappointed in the game and the result. But you know what, I think I would have been a wee bit more annoyed if it happened in the league or happened in a cup tie or anything like that. I'm kind of glad it's pre-season, because you know, that way there's nothing ultimately lost. You know, it's still annoying to lose, no matter what. I'm one of those people. I do not like losing at all. But you know, there is things in this that we will learn, and that's the most important thing about losing. I'm not obviously here to try and make any excuses for the performance. Some of the goals are absolutely shocking to concede, you know, and it's baffling to me that we concede some of these goals, but we do, and that's just how things go. You know, you make stupid mistakes and you pay for it, and that's ultimately what happened today against Yokohama. So we take a 2-1 lead. Ball across, Maeda scores a second, which was absolutely fantastic. There's a goal there. And Yokohama break in behind Greg Taylor's absolutely nowhere to be seen. caught him napping basically, and the attackers got in behind him. Kobayashi's playing on one side, and you know it happens to so many teams that get caught out in one moment of a switch off, and it costs them a goal, which is disappointing, but that's what happens. Here's a goal. You guys can see a very disappointing goal to concede, to say the least. It does get better for us as Maeda scores from basically the same sort of thing, but he hits it perfectly right into the bottom of the net, right into the inside of the post, which is very nice. And here's a goal here. You can see not the best finish in the world, not a wonder strike, but it's nicely placed, beautifully placed right into the bottom of the net. Keeper's got no chance, and to me, I do quite enjoy those type of goals. I enjoy those low-driven shots, just not a lot of power, just pure accuracy into the back of the net. Beautiful. But then we move on. Us making a stupid mistake from Carl Starfelt. We take a free kick. He makes a mess of it. He tries to clear it, and Yokohama get through, and they slot it by Grist. I don't know. I've not got words. It was definitely one of Starfelt's worst moments in a Celtic shirt. I know he does have his moments. So does everyone. You know, every player makes stupid mistakes and feels the pressure. It definitely does. But you know that simple mistake, we are lucky that it was in a friendly and not in a league game, because those type of mistakes could have cost you points, which thankfully that's not the case. But you know, he is still trying to get used to having Kobayashi next to him, and you know it will hopefully work out. But you know, there's nothing bad about Starfelt. I think he's a cracking player. He's definitely good in the air, but his ball work is not the best. He's not comfortable with the ball at his feet, and we've seen that in a lot of players that we've had over the years, such as Near Beaton, etc., that cannot play with the ball at their feet. But that's just how some players are. Some players aren't comfortable, some players are. It just depends on how people handle pressure. If you're good at handling pressure, it's easily done. But if you struggle under pressure, it's going to be a very tough style for you to play. But that's a goal. On after that disappointment, on to the 4-3 for Yokohama, which is not the best. It's just terrible. But so to break it down, at least, is that Carl Starfelt steps out, Fender gets in behind, slots it behind. Basically the same sort of situation that happened before, but Carl Starfelt steps out, leaving space behind, and it's a goal. So that's just what happens, unfortunately. But it's a stupid thing. You know, I can understand you know, the defensive point of view. You know, you're trying to get out, you're trying to stop the attack from happening. You know, you make a stupid mistake, you leave space behind you. You know, these things happen. It's a common mistake in football, of course. I'm sure a lot of defenders have done it themselves. I know I've done it, like playing football or whatever, or doing, like, ever been in a team and doing a training drill or something. You step out to shut someone down, and someone nips right in behind you and gets a goal. It's a frustrating thing, but you know, it is common, and a lot of defenders have made those mistakes. You know, because you're not thinking of what's going on behind you, you're thinking about what's going on in front of you, the things that you can see happening, and you just want to shut down the attack and stop the person getting any further forward, really. You know, it really is disappointing, but it's an understandable mistake, you know. I'm sure Carroll will be disappointed that he did make that stupid mistake, but it is one that he makes, and you know, you do learn from it. You will be more cautious in the future. You know, I'm sure when he looks back at the footage of him doing that, you know, he's going to be kicking himself, knowing that he's done something that he really shouldn't have. But you know, that's just the way of life. Everybody makes mistakes. It's all about learning from them, which I'm sure Carroll will, as he's, you know, he's a very experienced defender apart from the odd mistakes, but he does do very well for us. As I do say time and time again, he's fantastic in the air. His aerial threat of a game is fantastic. His aerial side of the game is absolutely fantastic. He's always good in the aerial duels. He wins a lot of them, which is great, you know, but he does lack that ability, and he does tend to switch off. But that's just the way he is. Can't really change much. You know, after it goes 4-3, they make it 5. It's disappointing. Ball gets down a wing, ball into the box. The Yokohama man leaps over our young right back to put it in for 5-3. It's a goal that, you know, you can't really do much because the attackers run into it. You're facing against it, especially as a young defender. I'm not sure what age the defender actually is. If I do remember, I'll put it on screen. But you know, when you're running backwards, it does tend to get hard. But it's easily done. But here's a goal. You can see it's a fantastic goal. There's no disrespect in it at all. You know, it's not, he shouldn't have done this, he shouldn't have done that. You know, it was a good goal. It was well played. You know, we were unlucky with that one, but you put it in the past, you move on from it. You know, we did make stupid mistakes, and we'll hold our hands up. You know, we made stupid mistakes, but it's not the end of the world. It really isn't. It's not the end of the world. Not here to make mistakes. To make excuses. We're here to learn from stupid mistakes and make sure they don't happen again. And that's the part of life. So that's the way I'm seeing it. Obviously, in the moment of the result, it's different. You know, you get annoyed and you will make mistakes, but when you actually sit down and you look at it, obviously I could never judge all day until I actually came home and seen the footage, what the game planned out like. You know, but I think Yokohama played very, very well. They showed their ability, and they showed, you know, they're putting in front of a crowd, and they wanted to make sure that they were going to be getting out and winning, and they really brought a fight to us, and that's how they won it. You know, they were more determined than us, and it shows. You know, we created a lot of chances, and we knew it was going to be difficult, but to go out and play the way that Yokohama played, they showed their intent and their determination to win the game, which ultimately they got, and they deserved. They really did. They played fantastic. The goals were well took. They capitalised on mistakes, which was very, very important in their game, and they weren't afraid to attack. You know, there's many teams that we've played against, and we do struggle to play against teams that will come out and attack, because we're that used to in the Scottish League, teams sitting behind the ball and defending for their lives. You know, come out and, you know, we will make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Come out and force us into a mistake. If you force us into a mistake and the ball falls to you, you can get a goal and then defend. You know, it's not hard to play other than 10 men behind the ball, it doesn't help anyone. You know, it just shows that teams don't want to fight against the big teams. They don't want to prove that they're capable. Teams, you know, if teams like, you know, the likes of St Johnstone or Kilmarnock or that came out and done that against Celtic, or, you know, they could get a result against us. You know, they really could, and it proves, because Yokohama are not the biggest team in the world. They're not a big team, you know, and they would have been underdogs in the game. You know, people would have went, oh, Celtic's going to beat them, Celtic's going to do it, you know, but that doesn't always happen. And, you know, I always worry about some of the teams. You know, I thought, you know, maybe if we win this, we'll get a wee 1-0 or a 2-0. It's not going to be a massive scoreline. You know, I didn't expect 10 goals in the game, but we did, and you know that was well worked. Move on. It goes to 6-3. We did fall 3 goals behind, which was disappointing and shocking to say the least. But it was well hit. Yokohama did very, very well to get out and get the 6th. And you know, it's one of them. It was disappointing. Ball goes through and it's gutting. Here's a goal. But very, very, very disappointed. But we did end the game on a high, of course, with an absolutely fantastic strike from no other than Davy Turnbull. He hits it beautifully from outside the box. A Davy Turnbull special. It does take a slight deflection, and he hits the inside of the post and into the opposite corner. Fantastic strike from Davy. Fantastic player. You know, we bought him from Motherwell for only a few million. I think it was 2 million or something like that we bought him for, maybe 1 or 2 million. And he's producing goals like that. He really is. He's showing his ability as a player, and I really, really do hope we get to see more of David. I think he's a really, really good player in that midfield, and I do believe he deserves more game time. But because of the quality we do have in that midfield with Hatate, with O'Reilly, you know, it's going to be difficult, and we're not going to drop Calmac. There's no chance he's getting dropped anytime soon. He's consistently one of our best players, and you know, he's a club captain. You know, he deserves it. He's been with the club for so long, and he deserves his spot. Honestly, he does. But a lot of these players that we're playing today, playing against Yokohama, I know this is going to be an experience, but it does help players knowing that at once every so often getting beat, because it shows how it feels to lose, and you really, really do not want that feeling to continue much longer. You really hope it is a once in a blue moon that it happens. But yeah, my thoughts, you know, I think some of the performances today were pretty shocking. Some of them really, really disappointing. I'm still trying to give myself the time to rate Kobayashi. I don't know if what I've seen him is enough. You know, Siegrist, with some of the goals that Siegrist conceded, it couldn't be helped. You know, some of them were fantastic finishes. The header at the back post, putting it by him as well. You know, it's difficult, especially if you're getting the shot hit to your far post, which is not an easy save to make. But if you get beat there, it's not the end of the world. You know, keepers make mistakes, people make mistakes, as I've said. But you know, a few pretty shocking performances. I'm kind of disappointed. You know, obviously Marco Telly is injured, so we didn't get to see him. Odin hasn't played, so we do have players there. The only one that we've permanently signed this window is Tomoki Iwata, who looked as if he had quite a decent game. I quite like him. I rate him. He's a good wee player so far, but I'll be looking forward to seeing him more. I think with him, you know, will David Turnbull stay? Will Abada stay? Is another question a lot of people are wondering. And you know, playing Maeda through the middle, I kind of rate it. You know, I think he's a good player through the middle. He's quick. He offers something different from O. He's not as physical as O, and you know, he is quicker than Kyogo, but Kyogo's got more of the natural striker knowledge to know how to play on the shoulder of the last defender and being able to nip through his pace. But if Maeda can learn that fully, the way that Kyogo does, I think Maeda would be a sensational striker, because he'd have a lot of things in his armoury which would be very, very helpful for him in his career. You know, he's a decent height. You know, he's quick. He's good with his head. He's good with the ball at his feet. He can run at defenders. You know, and he can deliver good crosses as well. So he can play anywhere ultimately across that front three, which is really, really important for us this season. But I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday against Gamba Osaka, which is our last game in Japan. Then the players will travel back to Scotland. We'll hopefully get the other two South Koreans to sign in the next couple of weeks, alongside Odin Thiago Holm, who's of course signed, and Marco Tellio. I'll be doing a video once the transfer window has ended of who comes in, who leaves. Obviously you guys have seen the video on Jota, which if you guys go into my TikTok, which is in my description, you guys will see a better video. You'll probably see better videos when it comes to players leaving, etc. on TikTok than you will on YouTube, because a lot of the videos do get copyrighted because of music, but I'm trying to use non-copyright sounds, but sometimes it does copyright anyway. But if you guys have enjoyed this review, make sure to leave a like. I know this has been quite a lengthy one, but I've wanted to try and go more in depth rather than just rambling about a load of nonsense. So I will try and keep it short and sweet but informative, because that's the whole point of these videos. So I will get back to you guys probably on Saturday after the game against Gamba on my views on that performance. And we also play Wolves in our last game of pre-season before we travel back to Scotland to play our opening league game against Ross County. So Gamba Osaka on the 22nd of July. 29th of July, the following Saturday, we play Wolves at the Aviva Stadium in Dublin, which is of course great for us because of our Irish roots. And then we'll return home for the 5th of August at 12:30 at Celtic Park for the game against Ross County, where we'll unfurl the champion flag for a second year in a row, which is fantastic, to say the least. But I look forward to that. I hope you guys all enjoy, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. As I said, like, comment your opinions as well, subscribe to the channel if you're new, ding on that bell so you guys never miss an upload. See you guys in the next one. Till then.